Welcome back. This is the 8th Congressional District Debate.
And this round of questions for our candidates were submitted by our local 5 viewers. Now, each candidate has 1 minute to answer each question, and we begin with our first viewer question from David Johnson. And he asks, and I quote him, "What are your thoughts on the legalizing of marijuana in the USA? Why do you favor or oppose it?" And we begin with Representative Stuck.
Okay. So I've actually co-sponsored bills in the state assembly in support of legalizing marijuana, and I do fully support it, and there's a couple of reasons. So one is when we see the opioid crisis that we have here, even in Northeast Wisconsin, one of the things we've heard doctors say is, why is it okay for me to prescribe these highly addictive opioids when I could be prescribing marijuana for the same thing that's less addictive, less side effects? Also, we see lots of states around us legalizing it. We shouldn't be the last state to fall behind. And certainly at the federal level, we need to legalize it in order to make sure that citizens aren't confused when it's legal in their state but not legal at the federal level. I've also heard from veterans in particular on this issue about how marijuana can help them with their PTSD, and that is why they want it legalized, and we should certainly do it for them.
Congressman Gallagher, your thoughts?
Well, I certainly support medical marijuana and the use of it, and my opponent's right that it has been used with many veterans dealing with PTSD. We obviously have a contradiction right now in law where it is criminalized at the federal level, but we have certain states that have chosen to legalize it. That makes no sense. That makes a mockery of our law and the nature of federal power versus state power. So as someone who believes firmly in the 10th Amendment, that the tie always goes to the states, I'm comfortable with making it a state-by-state decision. However, I would oppose legalization at the state level, particularly just given the negative consequences of marijuana use, and particularly given the fact that we need to find our way to wean the next generation off drugs when we've seen troubling statistics that have increased during the shutdown with anxiety, depression, and substance abuse.
Our second viewer question comes from Janet Johnson. She asks, what is your position on career politicians and term limits? Congressman Gallagher, you've sponsored legislation pertaining to this. Your response first, please.
Well, the legislation that we've introduced, and again, it's bipartisan legislation that my good friend from Silicon Valley, Ro Khanna, who's a progressive who supports Bernie Sanders, him and I disagree on a lot of issues, but we got together early in Congress and we laid out a bipartisan plan to drain the swamp. And it included nonpartisan redistricting, it included not allowing former members of Congress to become lobbyists, and then the centerpiece of it was term limits. Our bill allows for 12 years in the House, 12 years in the Senate, and then critically, we would phase it in, starting with our class and every subsequent class. And we thought that was a good way to kind of sneak it in there from the careers. But I can tell you, after we got the president to tweet in support of our bill, and this was the first time in recorded history that a Democrat was encouraging President Trump to tweet, we faced opposition from party leadership. And the sad fact is, it is that careerism that is destroying our ability to get bipartisan work done in Washington, D.C.
Representative Stuck, what about term limits?
Well, I'll just say I'm the only candidate up here who has committed that I would not serve more than 2 terms should I win, and that I will not run for another office than this one. So again, Mike Gallagher won't commit to that even though he talks about term limits. I have committed to that. I am also the candidate who actually works 2 other jobs in addition to being an elected official. I have a substitute teaching license, I have a CDL, I'm actually on the registry as a personal care worker in Northeast Wisconsin. So I actually have plans and training for a job outside of being a career politician.
Do I get a rebuttal in this round?
Go ahead if you will extend the courtesy also to Representative
Of course, of course. Well, I certainly support the idea of the citizen legislator. I think the beauty of our system of government is that we take people from outside of politics and we allow them to serve for a season of service, a short period of time. And for me, in particular, I felt called to serve in Congress because I served in the military prior to this. So politics was a foreign experience for me, and I had military experience and I had business experience, and I try and use that every single day to serve the people of Northeast Wisconsin. And so maybe one day I'll run for school board, I don't know, but I think that model of the citizen legislator is what we need.
And Representative Stuck, do you wish to respond?
No, I'm good.
All right, we move on to our third question from our viewers. Multiple viewers asked this same question in similar ways. And the question is, how does knowing my hospital bill up front help me afford it? Congressman Gallagher, your answer.
Well, this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart, because the fact is anyone who's dealt with a medical bill, particularly a surprise medical bill, it might as well be written in a foreign language. And how this helps you, and the reason that I've worked across the aisle to introduce legislation with a Democrat from Colorado on price transparency, I've actually worked with the administration on their latest 3 executive orders on price transparency, is that if you as the patient have an understanding, a reasonable understanding of what you are going to pay prior to getting health care, then you can start to shop around. You can compare service at different hospitals, and you can start to see curious things like, why is it that an MRI costs $5,000 here, but $1,000 down the road, or $20,000 somewhere else? And once we get patients empowered to start shopping around, we'll get more competition in our healthcare system, and we'll get better coverage at lower cost. But we also need to eliminate surprise billing. I've just introduced a Medical Debt Fair Reporting Act that would allow people to delay their medical debt until they adjudicate a surprise bill, so they're not trapped in a cycle of debt that they can never recover from.
Representative Stuck, your answer to the question.
Well, the truth is it doesn't. Now, I will say that surprise billing is an issue, and this is actually a bipartisan issue where both sides have agreed we need to address it, because somebody may go to a provider that is in their insurance list thinking that they're covered, but a certain staff person that day is not, and now they have a surprise bill that they didn't expect. So it is an issue, but the truth is it doesn't really help you if you can't afford it in the first place. And this is why we need somebody who's serious about health care reform. Mike Gallagher has only voted multiple times to take away health care by voting against the Affordable Care Act with no plan to replace it. And we need somebody who understands that. I know what it's like to have been that single mom who sits there calling through the entire phone book trying to find somebody that will take my son when he has a toothache, and nobody will take us because we don't have the right insurance. So it isn't just about surprise billing. That's just a small part of the bigger issue about people who can't get access because they don't have insurance or don't have any money to pay any kind of bill at all.
I'd like a 30-second rebuttal. It's simply not true to claim, as multiple professional politicians have done over the last 3 years, that we voted to take away health insurance from people. It's actually a dangerous lie that I think brings us further away to getting bipartisan common sense reform on health care. I have consistently voted to protect people with pre-existing conditions. I've co-sponsored the Pre-Existing Conditions Protection Act. And this may sound cynical, but I've come to conclude that the reason that Nancy Pelosi and so many others repeat this lie over and over again is it's a scare tactic. It's a scare tactic intended to coerce us into accepting a government-run takeover of our healthcare system that will hurt patients. We should oppose that.
I'd like to respond.
Yes, please.
Well, I would just like to say the truth is you have voted to take away people's health care, because if the Affordable Care Act goes away and you have no plan to replace it, they won't have anything. I had those calls when I worked for Congressman Kagan before we passed the Affordable Care Act. I sat on the phone, people crying, saying, I'm going to die if you don't do something. So the truth is, their health care will go away. You have no plan to replace it. You're part of an administration that has tried to take the Affordable Care Act to court to get rid of it.
Tonight's fourth question is from Local 5 viewer Gerald Bricks. He asks, what would you do to make life easier and more hassle-free for seniors to enjoy their well-deserved retirement? Congressman Gallagher, your answer.
Well, I think we all need to come together to make sure that we protect any cuts to Social Security. I think there's wide bipartisan agreement on this point. And the fact is that if we do nothing to take a look at the financial health of Social Security right now, we know it's going to go bankrupt. I think if you asked my generation, the millennial generation, whether those benefits are going to be there for them right now, they would be skeptical that they will. And this is another issue where 4 years ago, my opponent sat in this seat and tried to scare people into thinking I was going to take away their Social Security benefits. Obviously, that did not happen. Instead, I introduced something called the Trust Act that would establish a special committee to actually look at the long-term health of Social Security. The other thing that's absolutely critical for seniors is, of course, Medicare, which is why a government takeover of health care would be so catastrophic to our seniors, because it would completely undermine Medicare as we know it. It would collapse our rural hospitals, and it would take away private insurance for hundreds of millions of Americans.
All right, thank you, Congressman. Representative Stuck, your answer.
Well, I'm the candidate who's actually been endorsed by the National Committee to Preserve Social Security and Medicare, because again, Mike Gallagher isn't really being honest about this. The truth is he's actually been fact-checked on this, and he actually does support reducing Social Security benefits to poverty level for seniors, and that's a fact check. I'm not making that up. And not only has he said that, he's been part of the Republican Budget Committee, which has also supported similar measures. And the fact is, we know the administration just did this through the payroll tax cuts, putting Social Security and Medicare in jeopardy. So he's actually supported actions that put these programs at stake.
I like a rebuttal. Let me just fact check that in real time. One, I've never been part of the Republican Budget Committee. I don't serve on that committee. Two, I actually don't support the idea of payroll tax cuts. I actually think we need to be focusing right now on getting people back into work and having a job, not on the payroll taxes they pay if they have that job. I actually don't support that proposal. And three, it won't surprise you to learn that PolitiFact does not always get their facts straight. I think that refers to an article that my previous opponent, Thomas Nelson, tried to make hay with 4 years ago, where I was just analyzing a variety of different proposals without endorsing any of them. We need to stop politicizing Social Security because it actually hurts our seniors.
Representative Stuck, do you wish rebuttal?
Again, we know it's happening right now. We know that the payroll tax cuts are happening, and those directly impact Social Security and Medicare. And what has Gallagher done to stop that?
We move on to our fifth viewer question. This one comes from David Decker. It regards schools. He asks, and I quote, "Students and teachers have also been dealing with stress and mental health issues relating to virtual schoolwork and lesson plans. How will you provide support for students and teachers in Northeast Wisconsin while also keeping us safe from this spike in coronavirus cases?" Representative Stuck, your campaign talks about education heavily. What are your thoughts on this?
Again, I have experience as a teacher in the classroom. So I am in a classroom every single day right now teaching at a school district that is in person. I also have kids who are learning virtually right now. And so I see both sides of the issue. I see the stress of the teachers who are walking down the hallway saying, I'm so exhausted from trying to teach my kids in class and also teach my kids virtually. So a lot of this comes down to leadership. Again, if we had real leadership, it didn't have to get this bad. We also could be getting through this quicker if we had leadership that was really committed to following the science. So that's the number one thing. The next thing is making sure our schools actually have what they need, making sure that they are actually funded. Especially in Wisconsin here, we've continued to see cuts, and we've continued to see a lack of investment in infrastructure for things that schools need right now, like Wi-Fi, technology to be able to teach kids from home, that broadband that teachers need right now to be able to teach. So they need support, they need funding, and they need real leadership to get through this pandemic.
Congressman Gallagher, your thoughts?
Well, I'm proud to say that in the CARES Act, we provided over $30 billion in funding for schools. Wisconsin got $2 billion. That's essential. We need to continue to provide targeted support to our schools. And we have school districts in Northeast Wisconsin that have done heroic work weathering this once-in-a-generation crisis. Howard Swamico School District found a creative way for their 4th grade class at Meadowbrook to use a local church to expand the space. The Gray School System offered parents the options of going in person or digital. 90% chose in person. They're having to shut down right now. But right now, the schools are having to come up with their own gating criteria because they're not getting the guidance that they need from DPI. And as it pertains to federal funding, that $2 billion, let's say $1 from the federal government for disadvantaged kids or for kids with disabilities, that money has to go through DPI, then it goes to our local educational authority, and in the crisis, we learned that these LEAs were taking a cut of that money that deserves to be funding students for no apparent reason. We can't have that. We need more transparency with this funding.
That is time,
Can I
Congressman.
rebut?
Yes, you may rebut.
I just want to also point out that Mike Gallagher voted against the HEROES Act, which also had money for schools in there.
Can I rebut that as well?
Yes.
So the HEROES Act, which is, I think there's a reason so many Democrats voted with us against the HEROES Act, because that bill has a bailout for coastal states. It has a change to voter ID requirements days before an election, and it also requires the release of convicted criminals. How does that help the actual heroes, our cops, who are out there trying to keep us safe, weathering intense scrutiny right now? It doesn't. That's a Nancy Pelosi tactic.
Our sixth question comes from viewer Randy Puwells for Congressman Gallagher in particular. He asks, as we all know, several news sources have reported that President Trump has made derogatory remarks on several occasions about our veterans and war dead. As a veteran yourself, what is your response to President Trump about such statements? Congressman?
Well, I certainly oppose any criticism of our veterans. I disagree with the president's criticism of John McCain. I was fortunate enough to go with John McCain to Vietnam in my first year in Congress, and he gave us a tour of the Hanoi Hilton, where he was in prison for 5 years and tortured. It was remarkable. Now, listen, I didn't agree with everything John McCain believed in on policy, but I thought he was an American hero. As it pertains to this latest report, what we've learned is that this was anonymously sourced. It was rebutted on the record by multiple sources within the administration, and so I just would say, if we have October surprises like this, we need to make sure that they're actually true before we run with it. But make no mistake, all of the work I do as the sole Wisconsinite on the Armed Services Committee is intended to give our warriors the tools they need to accomplish the mission and come home safe. And one of the ways we honor our veterans is by taking care of them when they come home, which is why I'm proud to say we started a veteran-to-veteran peer mentorship program right here in Northeast Wisconsin.
Representative Stuck, your thoughts?
Well, I think it's absolutely terrible. So my grandfather actually served in the war in Korea, and he certainly was not a loser or a sucker. And this is the exact kind of leadership we do not need. We need somebody who actually does respect our veterans. But I would say what's even worse than those comments is the fact that he did nothing about the bounties that were being paid for the men and women serving us. And again, Mike Gallagher was silent. Where was he on talking about those bounties and what the president knew and how he didn't act on that?
Can I rebut that? So first, we know that John Bolton, who is no fan of the president, wrote an entire memoir criticizing the president, actually refuted the entire story that suggested Trump called our veterans losers or whatever. And we also know that the CENTCOM commander, the top general in charge of the Middle East, refuted the whole idea behind the Russian bounty story. And I'm sorry, as a former intelligence operative myself, I just think it's dangerous for us to misuse and politicize sensitive intelligence because it actually undermines the intelligence community, who's doing a very dangerous job on our behalf.
All right, thank you to you both. And that concludes the third and final round of questions here at the debate.
And after the break, our candidates will give their closing statements. We'll be right back.